This is Havenmaker, and today I'm going to share my recipe for chicken gnocchi soup. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a tablespoon of butter into our pot, and our pot is going to be on medium heat. And then from there, we're going to take a teaspoon of minced garlic, put that just right on the butter. Now, while that heats up, we are going to get half a cup of chopped onions. I like to use the frozen chopped onions. It just saves me a little bit of time. A little too much. Okay, half a cup chopped onions. And then I like to use the frozen sliced carrot slices. Now you can use fresh carrot slices, but they do take longer to cook for some reason. And for this, we're going to get about a cup and a half of them. And add that in. Now we're going to add a can of chunk chicken breast. This is a 12.5 ounce can. I've already drained it, so I'm just going to put that in. And then we're just going to break up the chicken. And then I'm just going to kind of scoot it around, make sure that that butter and the garlic and the onion is all over. That little carrot piece just hopped right out, didn't he? So once you get it mixed up pretty good, then it is time to add the chicken broth. We are going to use 1.5 cups of chicken broth. Pour that in. We're also going to use 1.5 cups of water. I'll be right back with the water. Okay. Now we are going to work on our spices. Now I already have all the spices right here. I've already went ahead and measured them out and mixed them up. And I'm just going to add that in. And what this spice mix is 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, 1/4 of a teaspoon of basil, 1/4 of a teaspoon of oregano, about an 1/8 to a 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, depending on your taste, and about an 1/8 of a teaspoon of thyme, and a teaspoon of celery salt. Now we just let this simmer on the stove until the carrots get nice and soft. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit, and we'll let that simmer. Trying to move the limbs out of the beans. Once it gets to this point, you can turn the heat down just a little bit if you want to. You still want it to be boiling now. We're going to check. We're just going to take you can take a fork, you can take a butter knife, spoon, whatever, and go after one of these pieces of carrot right here, and just see how easy it is to cut through. And if you're not able to go through it relatively easy, it needs more time to cook. As you can see, those pieces are still a little tough, so we need just a little bit longer to cook. Ready yet. Not quite, but we're getting there. Try one more. Very close. Alright. So now, while it's still boiling, we're going to add in the potato gnocchi. And it's about 1.5 cups, or a half a package of this 17.6 ounces. As you can tell, we eat this pretty regularly, so I had a half of it waiting to add. And I just pop that in there. And try not to make the mess that I just did. Trying to show you and do it at the same time. Just kind of want to break up these pieces of gnocchi. And I'm just trying to break apart that gnocchi so it cooks fast and evenly. And then you just let it boil for a little bit. You'll know the gnocchi is done when it starts to float to the top. See, some of the gnocchi is already done. That one there is trying to float to the top. Only takes about 3 minutes for that gnocchi to get done. Now we're going to turn our heat down just a little bit. Still want it to be boiling and bubbling just a little bit. Now, the next step is to add our cornstarch and whipping cream. Use heavy whipping cream and cornstarch. Now you always add your cornstarch to your whipping cream, get it dissolved, and then add that to the soup. If you don't do it, if you add the cornstarch to the soup and not to the whipping cream, you'll get big old clumps of cooked cornstarch. So I've got a cup of heavy whipping cream, and we are going to add 2 tablespoons cornstarch. And we're just going to stir this up until it's smooth. I like to kind of press my spoon up against the wall of the cup and smear, and it feels like it helps break down those larger clumps of cornstarch. Once you've got it reasonably smooth, you just pour it in. And stir it up. And you're going to want to let it bubble, and as it bubbles and cooks, you are going to see that cornstarch thicken up and make it this really creamy, smooth, thick soup. You only have to cook it for another 3 to 5 minutes at this point. Just stirring occasionally. You can really see it starting to thicken up in the center. and just turn it off and leave it on the burner. Let it finish cooking. Now, the great part about this particular soup is that it's very versatile and it's not finicky at all. So not only can you make this in one pan in 30 minutes or so, you can just, normally I just put my spices in, straight from the bottle, just shake them in and give estimates. So you don't have to be specific. You can also add other vegetables if you want. You could add spinach, you could add peas, you could add green beans even if you wanted to. I'm not really sure how that would affect the time, but this soup is definitely one of our favorites around the winter time. I love that I don't have a ton of pots and pans and different utensils to clean. Everybody in the family likes it. My husband, myself, my 5-year-old, my slightly less than 2-year-old. We all love this. And it pairs great with a nice crusty bread. You could do sourdough, you could do French baguette, you could do homemade bread. Yeah, very nice with that. And just dunk it in. Now, this soup, it makes about 6 cups in this format, and that should be between 3 to 4 servings, depending on, who you're feeding. For instance, it does feed every one of us in my little family, but there's never any left over. So, if you're all lighter eaters, when you pair it with a side, you might be able to stretch it further. But this is one of my favorites. Super easy. And I hope that you guys enjoy it and that it makes those cold winter nights feel just a little bit warmer. Totally ultimate comfort food. Thank you for joining us. Bye.